Hello, Stevie Coyle here, Mighty Fine Guitars with the Friday noontime-ish webcast, featuring today two guitars that are on sale. I don't generally put guitars on sale, but then again, I don't own any of the guitars in the shop here. So the owner of these two guitars has put them both on sale. There's a vintage Martin and a vintage Gibson. Before I do that, let me make sure that things are happening. Hello. Yeah, looks like things are happening. Terrific. All right. The first one, a J-50, a 1966. I win. 1966 Gibson J-50. The J-50, there is this mystique around the Gibson J-45. And rightly so, great guitar. This is the same guitar, except for the binding and the top color. This is a natural color. J-45 is sunburst. They're the same guitar. But for some reason, the J-45 has mystique that the J-50, except for the cognoscenti, doesn't have this. It has the same mystique because, for me, Jorma Kaukonen played a J-50, plays a J-50. Good enough for me to let it enter the realm of mystique. And keeping guitars tuned on a rainy, windy, blowy day. Here it is. That's why I got me one of these. While I'm doing this, let's talk about tuners for just a second. Oh, and the other guitar I'm going to show you is a 1963 Martin 00018. Neither of these guitars, by my lights, should be considered vintage, because I remember those years. But there you are. Both vintage guitars, both refurbed, neck resets, refrets, whatever the guitar needed, by this young fellow up in the North Bay. And he has repaired many, wonderful guitars for the shop here, and folks have been extremely pleased with them. If somebody just handed me this guitar and I played it for 2 seconds, I'd say, oh, you know, I might guess that it's a Gibson because of the feel of the thing, the slope shoulder dreadnought feel in my arms and against my chest. And I use the term loosely. Now take your own advice here, Coyle. And take the pitch below. Now that's a little high. Take the pitch below and come up to the note, because the physics are with you this way. If you loosen a string, it could keep loosening when you take your hand off the knobby. But when you tighten a string, the physics say that it's not likely to continue tightening without you applying pressure to the knobby. How's that? Better. Very good. All right. And a J-50. This is one of those guitars you find in a studio, in a recording studio often. Frequently, the occasions I've been in the studio, I've been asked, oh, you sure you want to play when I had, at the time, a big Martin D18. You sure you want to play your D18 on this recording? Because Martin dreadnoughts tend to be bassy, real bassy, and we have to EQ and place the mics in strange places. Gibsons just kind of record beautifully right out of the gate. And this is a very Gibson-y Gibson. Kind of a ridiculous thing to say, I realize, but... even. Real punchy and mid-rangey. My experience, it's maybe a slight exaggeration, but the difference between a big Martin and a big Gibson in my ear is that when you hit a big Martin harder, the bass comes up first. When you strum harder on a Gibson guitar, even a big-bodied Gibson, the mid-range extrudes, pops out more and louder, and it gets punchier. Instead of boomier, punchier. Man, you see how crazy it is to try and talk about sound? Boomy and punchy for sound. Always analogies, metaphors, similes. great strummer. Really great strummer. Now you can finger pick it, of course. Jorma did. He did all right. But I sort of think of, here, let me fire this back up again. Excuse me, kids. Plug in the magic numbers. Fire that up. Come on in. Hi, Larry. Larry's here. Tom Lamson is here. Yeah, the J160E. Beatley guitar, eh? I know, we all have those guitars that are the ones that got away. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? There are those ones that got away. I don't miss it terribly, but I do wonder whatever happened to, and occasionally I send this out into the universe to see if anything comes back. The D18 that I had, that was the first really good guitar I had that my folks bought for me in my junior year in high school, was serial number, you got a pencil? 232192, 1967 or 66. I haven't even looked it up in a long time, but 67 or 66 D18. 232192. If anybody knows where it is, I'd love to know whatever happened to it. That's the thing about so many of these guitars in the shop here. I don't know the stories for them. Some of them I know what happened and how they got here. One guy brought in a guitar, an old Martin from 1941, an 018. Fabulous guitar. He says, yeah, I got this in one of those auctions where they auction off a storage unit. And this was in there, and it was kind of, the bridge was off, and we thought, let's throw that away. And somebody said, what are you doing? That says Martin on the top. So for $300, he had the bridge glued back down, and we sold that guitar for multiple thousands of dollars. One thing I notice in playing that is that the fingerboard, the nut is narrow, 1 11/16. And this is in the days, the mid-60s are the days long before CNC machines, when, you know, Nat's ass precision was not the name of the game. These necks were carved out by guys with draw knives and sandpaper. So the necks are all slightly different. This one's got that standard kind of Gibson C-ish kind of shape and narrow across the fingerboard. As a finger styler, I kind of like a little more real estate in the left hand to mess around with, since I'm going to be doing different stuff in the bass and in the treble and in the mid-range, perhaps. Set of overtones in those diminished chords there. I like it. And it's all kind of pre-compressed for you. For a recording situation, your big, beautiful, modern-sounding, super resonant, tons of overtones guitar can be a little hard to get a clean recording out of, especially in a band sort of situation, where the guitar has to fit in a niche. It has to sit in the parfait of sounds that happen in the recording, you know, the bass and the kick drum and everything, and then all the way up to, you know, whatever you got, fiddle, vocals, perhaps. The other guitar I want to show you, oh, let me get that tuner off of there. Oh, I was going to talk about tuners for a second. I don't know what happened. I used to love the Snark tuners, and I love them less than I used to. There is one, I've forgotten what the brand, the model number is, the Snark 1 or the Snark Plus or something, where the registration of when you're in tune is so wide, it's way too forgiving. And I don't know what happened. So I've gone to these guys, the Polytune, I believe by IntelliTouch. And it's a little more tuner than I need. It does something that I'm not sure I would find particularly useful. You can just strum across the strings, and it'll show you little red dots of which strings are out of tune. Cool. Parlor trick, but I'm not sure how that would be particularly useful. But nice and accurate and bright, can be seen outside if you happen to be outside. It's one of those ones that clamps onto the headstock so you don't have to stop talking, which is hard for those of us of Irish extraction anyway. So different. Now, a different body size. This is the triple O. Same body size as the OM. Boy, we get into the weeds quick here, kids. Triple O and OM in Martin parlance are the same body size. The triple O, though, typically had, and certainly in this era, had short scale and narrow fingerboard. The OM had long scale and wider fingerboard. Nowadays, oh, there's Alexa going off, telling me something critical, something I'm sure I need to know, that I will check as soon as we sign off here. And again, ostensibly a 1 11/16 nut feels extremely different from the J-50. And again, completely refurbed. Reset, refret. It's got all this wonderful wear on here that we don't know the story to. I'm tempted to fire up a database, to start a database kind of website where people can log the story of their guitar. I got the guitar at this point, and from then on we could keep track of what happened to the guitar, how it was used, who had it. That might be big privacy concerns for some folks, but damn, it just seems like a real loss to me that we don't know the story for a lot of these guitars. It was great to get that one about the storage unit. That was really cool to find that out. But at least he knew that much. And that story can continue with the gentleman who bought that guitar. The stuff before that is a great mystery because those storage units get sold anonymously and nobody knows what happened before then. Sometimes you can tell from the case candy, the stuff that comes in the pick box, the old sort of... Here's one. Sometimes you get stuff like this. It doesn't really tell the story, but tells you the age of the guitar and perhaps what the person... The age of the person that was playing it. This is a capo from the 1960s, maybe the 50s. These old Bill Russell elastic style capos. This was some cool case candy that came in one of the guitars that came in here. So, real different character. And how to characterize it. This one sounds like a Martin, that one sounds like a Gibson. They're both very typey, as the horse people would say. Very typey, very to type. That's an Arabian, that's a very Arabian, you know. Sign me up. That's a Martin-y Martin, if there ever was one. Short scale, so that if you're a blues player, it makes it easier to push the strings around. At a given pitch, a shorter string will be easier to push around than a longer string. A longer string will hold pitch better when you pitch down way low. So there's advantages. If you're an alternate tunings player, you probably want an OM. Maybe not. If you're a bluesy kind of player, you probably would prefer, given a choice in a perfect world, you might prefer a triple O, which this is. Now, why these two guitars today? You may ask. They're both on sale. The owner of these guitars has put them on sale. This one started at $5,750, $5,750, completely refurbed. Good for another 30 years. Neck reset, refret, ready to go. Bridge, the whole schmear. $5,750 was a really good price, but he's taken it down. Motivated seller, as they say, to $4,950. $4,950 for this guitar is fantastic. The Gibson, the mighty J-50 over here, from 1966, has come down in price by that same gentleman from $4,250 to $3,750. So come and get them, kids. I'll post these prices. I'll go back and repost the title of this with the prices of the guitars. And you can find these videos on the Mighty Fine Guitars Facebook location as well as Instagram and the YouTube channel, which seems to be getting the most traffic, Stevie Coyle Music. There's lots of stuff going on over there. And boy, just touching the neck here, really different. Well, I picked this guitar up. I just want to grab a flat pick, and which is not my usual thing, but there you are. So all of which is to say, I'll play just a moment more. Leave comments and questions on below. Hey, Roy Schneider, excellent. Bill Douglas, David Martin, Bunny Barnes. Hi, Bunny. Bunny, you doing your Friday Pfeiffer at 4 o'clock Eastern time? Check as soon as you get done here, folks. Wait a half an hour, and at 1 o'clock Pacific time, go over to Bunny Barnes' channel. She'll play 3 cool tunes for you on a Friday and tell you the history behind them as well. Very cool feature. I try and tune in whenever I can. Bunny Barnes. There she is. Hi, Roy. How are you and Kim? Everybody good? Good. And Nana? And the doggy? Very good. Dr. Baker? Very good. Oh, man. Stephen Yerke? Vicky Farrell? Tom Rebecki? I feel like Miss Nancy. And I see XYZ and YZX and what's her name and Who's It's? All you kids are out there. Great. So this is kind of a regular feature. I try and start at noon. I try my best. But Murphy's Law kicks in hard when you try to have a regular show on a regular day at a regular time. And today it was pesky shoppers again, interrupting my setup for my Friday noontime webcast, TM. Wow. And just playing this, my first thought is would record great. So if you've got recording projects where you need rhythm guitar in particular. In fact, for the band I used to play with, Menudo, you may recall, there was a Gibson in one of the studios that we recorded in, and I was talked into playing that guitar for a rhythm guitar part, and it was better. It sounded better than my big old whatever I had at the time. Gibsons are great for recording. I have spoken. Lydia, oh Lydia, say have you met Lydia? Lydia the tattooed lady. She has eyes that men adore so, and a torso even more so. Alternate lyrics are Stairway to Heaven. And you thought that was an original rock and roll thing. Kind of standard jazz thing, but turned around by them guys into something different. Decidedly different. Stevie Coyle here, signing off the Friday Noontime webcast. Comments and questions, stack them up down below. I'll get to them as quick as I can this afternoon. There's folks banging on the door out there. Come on in down to, if you can't, come on down to Mighty Fine Guitars. 2 guitars on sale. A Gibson J-50 was $4,250, now $3,750. What a screaming deal. I must be insane. It's Stevie, Crazy Stevie's Guitar Emporium. And it doesn't stop there, folks. The sale goes on. A 63 0018, Martin 0018, completely refurbed. Both of the guitars are in great shape. Don't need neck resets, don't need refrets, don't need bridge work, don't need nothing like that. Ready to go. They come with cases. As they used to say in the old catalogs, comes with neck cord and plectrum. So, come and get them. The 0018 was $5,750, is now $4,950. Screaming deal. So, come on down when you can. I look forward to seeing you at least next week. Like I say, do leave comments and questions. Your old pal Stevie Coyle here at Mighty Fine Guitars, signing off. Ta-ta. Da, da.